Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Joshua and this is Rooftop. In today's workshop, we're going to be looking at a Christmas decoration. Now, we've done a lot of, like ornaments and trees and all of that, but there's one thing, or one of the many things that we have missed, and that is the Christmas sock. And basically, how it goes is the Christmas sock is hung right beside the fireplace of the house, and in that, the gifts are kept. Of course, depending on the size, but you get the point. So, today we're going to be drawing exactly that with a few gifts as well, and I will be using watercolors. Now, even though we have a lot of Christmas themed workshops happening this month, I'm going to try to make it as interesting and as educational as well. So, I'll be going over the different techniques that I will be using so that you can implement it in your own paintings as well. So, let's start and see how we go about it. Okay, so I have a cloth here, just any random cloth. This is going to be used to clean my brush or remove the water, etc. And then I have my watercolors here. You can use any sort of watercolors, may it be watercolor cakes or the tubes, whichever. All right, and of course some water and brushes. Now make sure that the water you're using is pretty clean, otherwise the color of the water is going to affect your painting. All right, so now we can start off by starting the drawing. Okay, so for the drawing, what I'm going to do is, if you'd like the reference, you can let me know, or else you can just join me as I draw. So, as you've seen in the thumbnail, we have two socks and then some gifts at the side. So I'm going to start off by composing this. So now when you go for the composition, especially when it is centered, right, we want the top and bottom to have equal spacing and the left and right to have equal spacing. So these both need to be equal to each other and the left and right need to be equal to each other. So let's say I want it to be over here. Okay, so over here I'm going to start off by drawing the left one first, just like that. And I'm starting off very lightly so that whatever mistakes I may make, I can easily get rid of them as well. So something just like that, super simple. A little over here. Okay, that seems good enough. Okay, and then at the top, I'm just going to draw a very rough shape of, where I want the leaves to be. So I'll just show you what exactly I'm talking about. Ooh, voice crack. I think I need to make a compilation of all the voice cracks I've had so far. Okay, so over here, the leaves that are there. Yeah. So these leaves over here, I just very roughly, I'm going to draw a shape like that for where I want the leaves to be. Basically the height and stuff. And then over here, I'm going to start drawing the gifts. So over here, right? So, does any one of you know about perspective? Has anyone heard about perspective when it comes to drawing? You can reply in the comments. There's nothing to worry about. I'm not gonna call out anyone or anything if you don't know. It's just a question. Hold on. I think I should have my eraser somewhere here. Let me check. So I started using this pouch that we did for the Pichwai tote bag painting. If you haven't seen it, go and have a look. All right, 1 second. Oh, never mind. My eraser was right beside me and I've been searching it ever since yesterday. Well, anyways, so I'm gonna take my kneaded eraser and just erase this part here. Okay, now this one, and just make it as straight as possible. Good morning. I hope your day is going well. Okay. So my acrylic palette just fell, in case you're wondering what that sound was. But that's okay. Alright. So we have this much done. Now you must be wondering, everything is over here. We have a lot of space. And I said that we need to keep the gap equal on both sides. But over here, if you look at this image, look, all of this background that is there over here, a little bit at the bottom, we're going to use that to spread it around here. All right. Missed yesterday's. Oh, okay. No problem. It's okay. Must have been busy or something. That's fine. But here you are today. Okay, and then over here. And then I will add the pine cone right over there. And yeah, that should be good enough. All right. So now I'm going to take my watercolors. I'll just make the reference back to normal. All right. So this is going to be a pretty simple painting. I'm not going to make it too complex, but stay tuned for the 331. That one's going to be a little different and interesting. Okay. So I'm going to start off. So we can either start with the background or with the main subject. So whenever you see me painting, right, you'll always see me referring to whatever we draw as a subject. And one of the reason is because whenever we paint something, right, what do? We observe it. We try to see how to draw, how its shape is. So basically, if you sum up all of that into one word, it is studying. We are studying how whatever we are drawing is shaped, what color it is, and hence we call it a subject. Because at the end of the day, we're studying it, and then we are drawing whatever it is that is needed to be drawn. So food for thought, you could say. The objects which are closer look bigger. Yes. So that is right. So that comes under more of a visual perspective. And when it comes to drawing, we have three different types of perspectives. Now what you said, that would fall under linear perspective, which of course right now it might sound a bit confusing, but don't worry, I will explain it in due time. So that would come under linear perspective. And then we have color perspective, which is basically to show depth using only colors. And last but not least, we have atmospheric perspective, which is more of a theoretical rather than a practical kind of perspective. Even though it may be theoretical, it is still important when it comes to, painting. So those are the three different types of perspectives we have. Hmm. So now this is going to be basically the lightest color in or for the socks. And now I'm going to take a little bit slightly stronger color and I'm going to paint over this. So now my red is a little bit pinkish. So we're going to have to manage with that. But if your red tends to look a lot more reddish than this, well and good. So I think the only way my red is going to look like a red is if I have a pretty thick amount of paint in my brush. So now we're going to go layer by layer. So going from light to middle to dark, like that. But what you can do is, if you want more depth in your painting, you can go from a lighter light and then to light and then to your darker lights, and then you have your higher mids, your darker mids, and then you have your higher darks, your middle darks, and then your darker darks. You can basically think of it as, instead of going from 1 to 3, you're going from 0.25 to 0.5 to 1, and then to 1.25, 1.5, and then 2, in that sense. So you're basically dividing each one again by 3. I hope my examples are not too confusing. If they are, you can let me know. If you're probably thinking, what is this guy saying? I'll try to give a better example. This early morning talking about math is not really the best way to go. Okay, like that. So now you can see, now we have a light tone here. I'll just add, a little bit over here like this. Yeah. So now you can see we're already getting a sense of depth, already getting a sense of three-dimensionality when it comes to the socks. You can see that, okay, this part is cylindrical, and then here it comes up. So it comes up like this, and then it goes flat like that. So you're getting that three-dimensionality over here. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take a lot more red. So more red, less water. And what that is going to do is, it's going to give us a much deeper red, like this. There you go. There you go, just like that. Now watch once I do this, look at how much more this also pops out. Alright, so over here, I'm just going to add a little bit there. Just like that. Now I can clean my brush a little bit, and over here I want it to be slightly lighter. So I can remove a bit of the paint over there. Okay. And now in this red color that I have here, I'll just take a little bit more red, like this, and then add a little bit of green color to it. This will darken the red color. So I'll take a little bit of green, because red and green are complementary colors. Now, complementary colors, what exactly are they? So I'm sure you must have seen the color wheel, right? You have a circular wheel in which you have red, blue, yellow, orange, purple, green, which all the colors basically. So red, let's assume it is at the top of the color wheel. Complementary colors are the colors on the opposite side of the wheel. So if red is at the top here, the opposite side would have green. So that way you can get color combinations as well. So now over here, I'm going to add a bit of this color down here. I wish this red looked a little more reddish rather than pink. Now you've seen me make, my own colors with like yellow and blue. I'll make my own green, or with red and blue, I'll make my own purple. But when it comes to primary colors like red, blue, and yellow, we cannot mix colors and then get red, or mix colors and then get yellow. Primary colors are basically colors that you cannot get by mixing other colors, whereas secondary and tertiary colors, so secondary would be two primary colors mixed. So red and yellow would give you orange, making that a secondary color because you're mixing two primaries. Or if you mix red and blue, you get purple. Or if you mix blue and green, blue and yellow, you get green. So those are secondary colors. And then when you mix two secondary colors, you would get a tertiary color. Okay, like this. That should be pretty good. So I've noticed one thing, and that is with watercolors, right, on camera, it has a tendency to look a lot duller than or at least how I see it. So I think we can use gouache as well. I'll try getting gouache colors so that it can also look really nice on camera when you all see it, rather than it just being me. So you know what? Let me try showing it on the front camera and see whether there is any difference in the color. I'm just gonna make sure that this color doesn't drop. Yeah, you can see how much more vibrant it looks here, right? Okay. Coming back to this. Okay, now I will add a little bit of brown color. So I mixed a bit of brown over here. Yeah, that's a good color. So a bit of brown and green. So a little bit there, just like that. Hmm? So always start with a very light color. Never start with a dark color when it comes to watercolors, because you can always darken a light color, but you cannot lighten a dark color. Whereas with acrylics, you can start from any sort of color you like. You can start from dark to light or light to dark, anything. But if you oil paint, then you would need to start from dark and then go to light. So has any one of you tried mm, painting with oil colors? Do we have any oil painters watching me? Just like that. Okay, then I'll just take a little bit of water with a little bit of paint. And then I can add another layer of a slightly lighter color there. Nice. Okay. Now we can do the gifts over here. So for the gifts, I'm going to take, so let me show you my colors first over here. So we have some cadmium yellow and yellow ochre. I'm going to mix them both together, because if you look at the reference, you can see that it is sort of a yellowish gift box, but it's not very bright, it's not very vibrant, it is slightly, you could say, middle kind of dull. So because of that, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take some yellow color here. Now what? Before I do that, I'm just going to remove all this color down here. And the reason being is that yellow is a very bright color. So as soon as another color touches it, the color is going to change. And we do not want that to happen. Excuse me. Then I'll just take my cloth and wipe it all off. There you go, that's how you clean your watercolor palette. And also, it's a good practice to, once you're done using your watercolors, to leave your colors as it is, because you never know, the next time you paint with watercolors, you may want to use some of these colors again, which is why I only cleaned half as to where I needed and not everything. Because then maybe for the next workshop or a workshop after that, I can then use these colors again. And since they are watercolors, I can just put some water in it and there you go, I can reuse them. Okay, so I'll take some yellow here. You can see how bright it is as compared to this one over here. So because of that, I will take a little bit of this yellow ochre. I'll put them both side by side so you can see the difference. I'm not sure how much difference you can see. Okay, on camera it looks very similar, but this one is a little bit duller. So I'm just going to mix the two together. Add a bit of water. So we'll get that middle ground between vibrancy and dullness, you could say. Okay, and then I can start by applying a lighter color first. And you can keep it a bit patchy. You don't have to. Okay, that is a little bit dark. So I'll just mix a little bit water here. And if you want to lighten your colors, remember you don't need to add white to watercolor. You can just add a bit more water and see, look at how light it's become as compared to this. So I can just remove some paint from there and put it down over here. Just like this, a little bit this side. And a little bit at the top. Okay. Now I can take this darker shade and apply it over here. Maybe I'll add a little bit of ochre to it. And remember, just because I want it darker does not mean I need to make it super thick also, or take way too much color. Okay, that still seems a little yellowish, so I'll take a bit of brown color and mix it in. Yeah, there you go. Ochre and which shade of yellow? It's a yellow ochre and cadmium yellow. This one. So I have three yellows here. One is lemon yellow, which I'm sure is the most common color in each and every brand. So we have lemon yellow, we have yellow. I'll just show it to you this way. So I'll tell you what all colors I have over here. So we have white. So with watercolors, I don't think there's a specific type of white, but I'm just going to assume that this is titanium white. And then we have sap green, we have viridian green, we have ultramarine blue. This one I'm guessing is sort of like phthalo blue. And then we have lemon yellow, we have cadmium yellow, we have yellow ochre, we have burnt sienna, we have black. This one is, I think, alizarin red. Of course, this is all whatever colors I'm seeing. It is not on the box, but based on my experience and the colors that I have used, I am telling you what colors these are. This orange, I'm not quite sure what orange this is, but yeah, you have. Okay, I'm very afraid to say the name of that yellow because I don't I don't want to mispronounce it so bad. But okay, so I'm not very familiar with that yellow, but if it is something similar to these, right, it should work. Or even if it's similar to, maybe like a combination of these two, or a combination of these two, or maybe a combination of these two also, it should be fine. As long as it is yellow, you're good to go. And say in case you do not have the correct shade of a particular color, you can see how you can use the shade that you have in a way that it would suit you. So you can experiment basically. Gamburger yellow. You know what? Let me Google that and check. Okay, so it is very similar to this yellow. Yeah, it's a deep yellow, yeah. So it's similar to this cadmium yellow. So it should be good to go. So the yellow you have is good enough. A bit over there. A little bit this side. Okay, then I will mix a little bit of blue and a bit of this yellow. So it'll become slightly darker green, and then I can mix a little bit of brown in it so that we can get this nice darker color. Ah, there you go. That looks so much better. So if you're wondering how I come up with the colors to mix in order to get these, darker shades, this is how I think about it. So if I want to darken yellow, I'm going to add blue to it, but then that would make it too greenish. Now, if I want it to be a little bit yellowish with that green, the closest I can get to is brown. So then I will take a little bit of brown and mix it into that and then see whether it works or not. And I will, mess around with the ratios. So maybe more yellow, less blue, and less brown, or maybe more yellow and blue and less brown. And you can go back and forth and see which one suits you. Camel. Okay, Camel Artist Watercolor. So these are also the same brand, but yours might be in a much better packaging if I'm not wrong. Because these paints just cost me, I think, around $60. So I'm not using any high quality paints or anything. I'm using what you would normally get at your stationery. There you go. Here as well, I'll just add a thin line there, a little bit at the bottom to give it a shadowy kind of feeling. And I'm going to mix a little bit more blue into this for the shadow. Yeah, there you go. Clean my brush, take a bit of this yellow color, then just add a little bit at the top. Okay, now before I do anything else, I'm just going to do the background, and then I'm going to do the the leaves that are there on top. So for the background, again, I'll take some yellow, some blue, so you can see it's turned green. And I'm going to take some brown color, mix it in. I'm still not happy with this color, so I'll take a little bit more blue and quite a bit more yellow. And then I'll get this very burnt green kind of color. And that is what I am going for. Maybe a little bit more blue. And then make sure you dilute it well. So you can see how dark this is. I don't want it to be that dark. I'll clean my brush and then take all this paint again and spread it around while it is still wet, of course. A little bit there. And now over here, I'm going to keep my brush flat down. I'll just clean my brush and then lift up all this extra color that is there. Add a little bit this side. And then the same color, I will put it over here as well. So now you can see it's very patchy, right? Like this. It's my son's school leftovers. Okay, that's understandable. I mean, as long as the paints are still good, that's all that matters. Okay, there you go, just like this. And then I'll take a bit of this darker green and then just put it around this side. Over there, a little bit here. There you go, just like that. And now if you look at this part over here, this one, it's a little too flat. So I'll just take a bit of water like that and then spread it around. Yeah, there you go. And then a little bit here. Okay, that should be good enough. Take a little bit of blue. Then just darken the side so that we can get a little bit more depth. Just a little bit. I think the next one, the next workshop, it's supposed to be in watercolors, but I think I'll do it in acrylics. Okay, now I can start with the top area. Okay, so I will take some green like this. I'll put some green down here, take a little bit more, then add some water to it. I'll mix some blue to darken this green. Okay, so I will use this green as my first layer. Okay, I don't want it to be too vibrant also, so then I can take a little bit of brown. Yeah, there you go, just like that. So we can start off by just drawing a line straight and then adding these like this. What I'll also do is I'll just keep some space for these red color. Okay, now I can take this and over here in the middle I can just fill this area up. Like that. Okay, and then over here as well. just like this, and now I can just start adding lines upwards. Then I can add these leaves over here, let them overlap. There you go. Okay, then I can take a little bit more blue. Now to darken this, instead of blue will just turn it more bluish. Now I can take some red color the opposite way. I'll mix this, add a little bit more green. There you go. So previously we added green into red to darken it, but now we'll add red into green to darken the green. Okay, so now over here in the middle, there you go. And now in just a few spots, I will add this inside so that we can get that nice, the light and dark a mix kind of effect. And not everywhere, in just a few places, like especially where it is cluttered, like this area over here. Where there are more leaves together, we can add more there, and then towards the ones outside, only a little bit, not too much. And it doesn't even have to look like a leaf. You can just sort of scribble inside and it will automatically look like these are the leaves. But if you are doing so, just make sure it is in the same direction. And then over here as well. Now if you see, right, when I'm doing this area, I'm not really looking at the reference and how, precisely how many strands or how many strokes I need to do, or how I need to make sure the placement of these leaves have to be exactly the same. I just looked at the image, I'm like, okay, one here, a few there, okay, this side is a bit darker, fine, and then a few darker strips inside. So I'm simplifying it as much as possible before I paint. Otherwise it will get very complicated for me, and it would take me forever to get each and every line like that. Alright, so we'll have that part done. Okay, then if you want, you can darken it just a little bit more. If you want. Now this is not necessary, but I'm just going the extra step in case you do want to. So more towards the bottom, and then just a little bit sort of going outwards. Okay, like that. Then I'm going to take just my red color and I will fill these parts up. It still looks very pinkish, but okay. So it's not that this color is bad or anything, it's nothing like that. It's just not the color that I wanted to use, but like I said, if you have a different color than what you originally need or want, you can still just figure out a way as to how you can use it in the best way possible. And again, you're painting, you're not clicking a photograph, so it doesn't need to be an exact copy of what you are looking at. Okay, now that that is done, I will just take a little bit of yellow, like this, and then I will add the ribbons over here. Just a little bit there, and then over here, I'm just gonna start going left to right, this in sort of a random. So you know how fish scales are sort of like this? Okay. So you know how fish scales are sort of like that, right? So like this. And so the same thing, I'm just going like that. And then I'm adding a few more inside like this for the pine over here. What was the color I was using? Then a little bit here. Okay, and then last but not least, a bit of the lighter color also in between. Just a small touch of this yellow in a few spots, just like that. Now I think I'll try to darken this part a little bit. So I'll take a bit of green color here since that is dry. It will be a lot easier to darken it right now. So I mix some red and green. Oh, look at that. Look at how dark that is. Nice. Okay, and then I can mix a little bit more red color in there. Then add this over here. Add more water to it to lighten it up. Just like that. Yeah, there you go. Now there's more depth in this. Okay, and then I'm going to add this here, just a little bit. Like that, and we are done. Yeah. So there you go. That has been our Christmas decoration painting. So I'll just show it to you from the front. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this workshop, and stay tuned for the next one, as that one is going to be a lot more interesting, a lot more, sorry, not a lot more interesting, but a lot more different than compared to what we have done previously. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you all again at 3:30. So take care and bye bye.